expertise and circular innovation through his 40 years of experience across agriculture, engineering, energy and manufacturing. Steve's here to share how Wandarra are transforming regional agri-manufacturing through innovation, the power of hemp and regenerative agriculture. Please welcome to the microphone, Steve Tiley, everybody.
Yeah, Cassandra, I think you should have put me on the shift before lunch. I thought you loved me. So thanks very much for presenting here today. So we're based here in Townsville, obviously. So what I want to weave into the story in the 15 minutes is how we're delivering, a lot of the key things that we're looking for from one company, if you like. So sustainability, regenerative ag, low carbon building products, and everything else. So we just might move on. Sorry. So helicopter view, what are we trying to achieve? So we know the globe's demanding, and domestically we're demanding more and more sustainability. And we've gone out and got some world's best technology in what we're doing, and then localising it here. And we're localising it here because just what you've heard, we're a very, very forward-thinking society. A lot of the solutions are here. So the infrastructure, the agriculture, the manufacturing, all the good people that can help us on the journey as an individual company. So what we're trying to do here is manufacturing for the new green economy. It's on us, it's happening, so we're working within it. So what we're really doing is identifying some of the global and local problems, so regenerative agriculture. You heard what Ken said yesterday, a lot of the land's been taken out of productivity. We're no different here. We've got very fragile soils, but at least we're on the path. So what we're looking there is giving our farmers the opportunity to put manufacturing here in Townsville so that they can grow more crops. We've got a fair bit of capacity when we put in the sugarcane rotations. So we're trying to get our farmers to be more focused on rotational cropping and having a cash bonus for that when we grow crops. But you've got to have the manufacturing here. It's no good. They'd grow more crops if they had delivery to Townsville, not delivery to Brisbane or beyond. So the other thing there is by engaging and bringing in that capacity, we get better food security. The world's running out of protein pretty quickly to feed, and we've got a global population, declining land mass, productivity. So we just want to try and get in more of the protein crops. Carbohydrates is one thing. And how we do that is engaging with the local growers, broadacre, cane, to achieve that process. What I want to focus on today though is just the reduction of the single-use plastics, the way that we're going to achieve that. And that's through using pulp, and if you come and see us over on the stand, we can take that a bit further. And the building construction industry, we've got a huge amount of homes to build, factories and everything else. There's a skill shortage, but there's also material shortages. So we think hemp and other biomass crops can fulfil that shortfall in the supply chain. And lastly, just the health and wellness that's out there, getting healthier. One of our health and wellness around like terpenes and hemp oil. So we actually send our oil down to Newcastle, and instead of using petroleum or palm oil, the hemp oil goes into skincare products. So we're just starting that journey. So we're on the J curve and we're on the bottom of it at the moment. So you've got to think of it fully integrated and no waste. So this is just looking at whole plant utilisation. So what we're doing there is the seeds come through, so oil seeds, so soy, sesame and hemp can all come through the chain there. The oil can be fractionated off into all sorts of natural products, if you like. The press cake goes into protein, for example, and cattle feeds and livestock feeds and agriculture feeds. On the other side, the stalk, so we want to use the stalk. It can go into the building products, sustainable packaging, all those sort of things. And then the leaves and the flowers. The flowers can come in specifically around hemp into the CBD market for our health. So we want to use that entire crop via a manufacturing process. And again, we can use the gas. The gas can also come through as a stalk, if you like. Canash, another crop we're looking at from a fibre processing side. We can grow it here in North Queensland. So how are we going to do this? Well, we want to be B2B or business to business. So on the right there is just the structure. We've come up with some IP around how we need to trace all our products. ThriveTech's the way we grow and work with the growers, regional growers here. And then we sort of work out through our primary production, so we contract grow with the growers and give them remit their cash. And then we've got our three big manufacturing products, if you like. So HulkPack is the sustainable packaging, HulkBuild is the sustainable building products, and Wandarra Health and Wellness around the food. On the other side there is very much about regional development. So we've got the people, the knowledge and everything else. So it's a hub and spoke model. So obviously Townsville's the hub where all the final processing will go. We think a lot of this can be exported, or we know a lot of it will be exported in the future. So the Port of Townsville plays a very important role. And then we want to be growing in rotation with Ingham. So these are our spokes, our 4 spokes we've identified. So north, south around Bowen, taking the Burdekin, pushing out to Charters and pushing out to Hughenden. So it gives us 4 microclimates to de-risk what we're growing. And also everything can't come into Townsville, so the replants, some stock can stay out on those spokes. So when we really ramp up, there's probably around about 13 or 15 jobs at each of those centres. So from a regional employment, that's good. So agronomists, semi-processed products and everything. So that's how we're going to execute the plan, if you like. So I just want to swing on this slide. So around food security, I said we've got to get more crops in the ground, more food coming through. So we're working with Siro, big fan of Siro. So basically we're just down at the moment at Boundary Street within NQ cold stores. And really what we're trying to do there is just use those crops to produce flour, crude oil, concentrate and isolates, and then your textured vegetable proteins. So we're going into the ingredient market is where it is at the moment. So the global packaging, I think we're pretty well converted in the room. We know what the problems are. So I just, in my spare time, I do a fair bit of ocean swimming. So I was just down at the strand this morning and I always do this. I just walked between the stinger net and the rock pool wall there. Didn't take me long, and just find this. So, we've got to try and eliminate that. And how we do that is we're not against plastics at Wandarra, but we are against single-use plastic. So I'll just show as we go through the technology that we've developed, or the Germans have developed. So we've got to get used to get rid of the single-use plastic and replace it with, in our case, pop. So, and again, the old aluminium can now be replaced. We can make these almost in the next few months. We can get these into the market. So we know that as a community what's going on, and we've really got to, we're eco destination and all that sort of stuff. So this is important that we make this transition over. So we're very lucky and acknowledge Smart Precinct gave us a grant to really drill down into the local community, if you like. So what our study, we interviewed quite a few service providers. So the stats are there's 42 million pieces of individual items used every year in Townsville. So that's plastic, paper, so anything in the takeaway market, our cups and everything. Obviously everyone's dependent on that role. So the weekly usage is around 810,000 units. That's probably trying to be recycled, and we're probably going to landfill most of the time. So from that interview, the current situation, well, people are obviously seeking alternatives, so we're trying to provide one of them. There is a knowledge gap in what is out there. We're not the only show in town. There are supply challenges, so Obviously, if someone's going to challenge, doesn't matter whether you're a small vendor or a big vendor, if you're going to change out your product range or your supply chains, you've got to make sure that the continuity of supply is there. And then cost concerns, but we're pretty well on a parity. So when you're taking the full circular economy benefits, they're pretty well there. So how do we do that? Well, we went out, we don't have time, so we've gone out to Germany and a company called HulkPack, they're based in Cologne. So we have a license agreement with HulkPack. It's for the entire Asia Pacific at the moment. And they make, they've come up and done all the hard work for us over the last 10 years. And the black and white pretty well is the theme of what this 2 days is about, is we need to rethink, how we're using our packaging. We need to get, eliminate the plastic and the glass and the EPS and the aluminium. Now on that, and then improve our company footprint. So what they're saying there is, kilograms of CO2 to produce the plastic. Virgin fibre is also in there, so that's your plantation trees. And hemps, because they're being in Germany, they use a lot of renewables. So and they treat it properly, so they have a circular economy recovery system, and that's why they get to minus or get a slight negative on the hemp when they use the hemp. So that's all validated. Just a stat, and I'm asking an interaction question here. So the global packaging industry in newsprint, in cardboard, how many trees do you think we consume every year? Anyone know? A lot. Yeah. 3 billion. So you can go on Google and have a search, this is all peer reviewed. So 3 billion trees get cut down every year that feed into the packaging industry. And we're a 90-day crop. So you just think of the forest, that takes about 10, 15 years, 20 years in Europe to go through that cycle. And we can get in, plant, and get to a product in 90 days, right here in Townsville. So you can see there the range of, they've just got a couple of things there, the strawberry punnets, it's all done, it's all the EU standards, they've done all the work for us. I'm delighted that we can bring this to Townsville. So I think we're just going to have a quick look at the video. So this is HulkPack at one of their factories, called the Gigafactory. So I just wanted to show you this. So we'll be having this in Townsville, hopefully within 9 months, as the funding comes through. So really it's just a pulp system, so egg carton, so egg cartons produced. Just the higher end of that goes through a mould. Obviously that's paper being bleached, everyone wants their bleached products. They just get stamped. They get put on a conveyor belt, they go through the dryer for about 35 metres. There's a dryer there. And all the water's taken out and recycled. Comes through, there's a 6 every 10 seconds or something that are produced. These are factories that can go 24/7. They're just stamping them there just to firm them up, so it's food grade. That's a nacho tray coming through. And it also just goes through a lot of QR and everything like that. So for direct ingest, so your strawberries or anything you're going to eat out of that tray, it's got an organic coating. So there's nothing else in there, there's no PFCs, anything in there, it's just all organic, and they've done a lot of work on that to make sure it works, and also EU. So just going into the building side of things now, this is a hemp home. It just looks like any normal home, and we want to try and, so this is a greater, we're talking about the environment and much lower energy consumption, and as I go through, lower greenhouse emissions. It's fire resistant, anti-mold, antibacterial, termite proof, except for Northern Territory. There's a couple up there that eat it apparently. So what we're proposing here, so again we've gone out, the Europeans have done all the hard work for us. So this is a factory in Belgium, so we can import, so this is, think of your home, instead of using cinder blocks or cement blocks, you use it, and then we've got the wall there, if you want to come and see us. Again, mass produced, you've got to, if you're going to be in the construction game, you've got to do what the construction industry is used to, and that's block lane. So these are much lighter, they're easy to use, they interlock. So those factories can produce about 70,000 pellets a year. So we've got we're just talking to them about getting to minimum viable product and then building a factory here in Townsville. So that could change our dynamics around much more efficient. So we're really growing our own home. We're thinking, you're growing a crop down in the Burdekin or up at Ingham, can come in, be processed, it gets mixed with the lime, and you've got this mass-produced block that the construction industry is used to. Again, there's no volatiles in any of the products. So this is HulkPack or our friends at hemp core. So again, that's our factory in. Again, we've got a license to manufacture. And if all the panels and everything that are over here, you want to come and see us, they do hemp pellets. So they've got a whole range of things, but we just focus on the building products at this stage. I always get asked, is it fireproof? This is a study they did with Cyro, and actually Zac Efron, the A-lister actor, he actually sponsored this. He's building a hemp home in Byron Bay, I believe. So he's very much into the environment. So basically, it had to sit there for 15 minutes. If you can see on this side, it just got singed. It did have a breach, and the windows popped. So you put shutters on the windows. You can have be sheltered in the bushfire. Probably one of the best carbon sinks plants in the world. So this is a QDAF slide. So basically what it's telling us is that for every hectare that we plant in hemp, we get about 5 tonne in the soil of atmospheric carbon is sequestered, and we get 15 tonne in the biomass. So based on about 10 or 12 tonne of biomass, so think of straw, hay bales, if we lock that up into building products, then we get a carbon credit. And we've proved this via Canada. So again, we're really hitting our straps now. We're building these new homes, but we're also creating a lot of carbon and locking it up. And at the end of the day, if the house gets to 90 or 100 years, you just bring the wood chipper around and chip your home and put it back in the organic compost. It's as simple as that. So just bringing it home. Big fan of VRM. Like Jason, we have a license with one of our subsidiaries for Lava Solutions. What I wanted to prove here is that, and I was sitting there one day and I'm working out all my dynamics and costings. So, in 5 or 7 years, we'll probably have 10 trucks a day coming into Townsville from the spokes to do final processing in here. So, what am I going to do? There can't be a one-way trip here. It's just a waste of resources. So, what we did, we just trialled 80 tonnes. So we made a humusol pile about 12 months ago. We put it on a cane farm in the Burdekin. And again, what Ken was saying yesterday, they dropped the synthetic use by 40%. So again, just reiterating what Ken said yesterday. So the whole idea is that as we grow and get bigger, the trucks can come in and the trucks can go out with organic fertiliser back to the farm. And then I get a two-way run on my trucking. Can't do it without everybody. Just want to acknowledge, we've QDAF, so we're an Agri-Manufacturing, so we work very closely with the manufacturing hub, Cyro, state development. I always say there's about 12 of us that work in Wandarra, most of us just part-time. But there's some really great public servants out there. You outlay the vision, and there's the councils and councillors have been fantastic. So we're working with everybody there, and of course Smart Precinct is in the centre of our universe. So, and obviously the Shires. So just bringing it home. This is my little graphic. So I want you to see Wandarra as a catalyst project. So when we do something, we obviously get sales. So we're a pool demand company. So when we get the sales of these wonderful products, we have to go into a contract with a grower to grow the crops for us. And then we need to manufacture it. And then the key thing yesterday was about logistics. So how are we going to move it all around and everything? But we're the straight through people. But I need so many other services. I have nearly 150 jobs. We think that's what it is when we get to full capacity. So they're high-tech manufacturing jobs, robotics, mechatronic type sales, all that sort of stuff. So, and also have about a capex of about 150 million. So all these factories employees can only be in one centre. So I have to have a lot of services. I have to have engineering companies to help build and modulise what we do. We need maintenance. We need training services. We need relationships with our government departments and everything else. So it's quite exciting. And who knows what, once we sort of get those products rolling, what other innovations can come through. So I'm getting the wind up. So thanks very much for the opportunity, and come and see us, and we're here for the future.
Just numbers that just blow your mind. 40